So this video is a comparison video on the Big Agnes Wyoming Trail 2 Ultralight and the Big Agnes Wyoming Trail 2. This is the 2020 edition and this is the 2012 or 13 edition. I've had this one for almost 10 years. I've had several other tents as well, but this one is my go-to for everything. I love this tent, and I thought I owed it to the world to do a little review on my old ultralight version and the new what I think about the new 2022 Wyoming Trail 2. This tent I bought when I was in Germany in 2013, and honestly it has been all over the world with me. It traveled Europe. I took it with me when I went to Japan. It's been all over the States, Canada. It's been backpacking, canoeing, you name it, it's done it, man. And it's held up well. You'll see when I go through the tent here, it's got one tear and it's in the bug net, but the floor has held together really well for being an ultralight version, which means it's made of the lightest material with the least amount of extra bells and whistles. The only complaint I really have about this whole tent is the bag. It's just the bag. It hasn't held up, but it's been 10 years, and this is really the only part that's failed. The bug net, my dog caught his paws on the bug netting and ripped it, which is expected, but this just kind of fell apart as I was cinching it down one day. But in general, it still holds the bag well, and I have really no complaints. The ripstop just didn't stop the rip on this one. The bag on this new tent is just so much better. It's got a pouch on the outside to hold your stakes and your poles. It's got some straps so you can cinch it down and make it a little bit tighter instead of just closing completely on the top. Instead of just cinching down, it's got a little cover, and the cover has a hook, and you just hook it on there. It has more loops on there so you can attach it to things with molly webbing or whatever the civilian equivalent is to that. And honestly, this is just such a nice tent, man. And the bag, honestly, it's just such a nice bag. I'm pretty excited, and I have no doubt that this one, you can tell by feeling it, it's going to hold up a little bit better than the other one, which again, this one's an ultralight, so I didn't expect it to be super durable, right? Like, you can't have ultralight and ultra durable, so this feels somewhere mid-ground, and I really think that's a plus for the Big Agnes. You can kind of see the difference in size. The new version is obviously a little bit taller, maybe just 4 or 5 inches taller, and it actually has so many entrances. I know that the non-ultralight version of the original Wyoming Trail had a front entrance and a back entrance on it, but this one, it's got 3 side entrance like this, back on the other end, and this front entrance as well, which is kind of convenient, especially for versatility for which way you want your tent facing in your sleeping area. The 2022 version has steeper curves on the uprights right here, and it's a bit taller, which one of the problems with the older version for the ultralight is when the rain would come, it would collect here and pool if it was raining really hard. So I'm curious to see how well that is fixed in the 2022 version. So first off, I would like to look at the older style, the 2012, 2013 ultralight version. To go over the features I really liked about this tent. Obviously the vestibule, it's so big. I've spent a lot of time weathered in, just hanging out in there, and they tell you not to cook in there, but I've cooked plenty of meals inside of my tent in this area and played cards with my buddies. The sleeping area is actually decent sized. I've had a couple people complain about the size of the sleeping area, but honestly, I just use it for sleeping, so it's perfect. Fits 2 people, 3 if you're really snug in there. It's great for me, my wife, and my kids because they don't need to run around. I also have a Big Agnes Wyoming Trail 4 if I really want to have separation from them. This older style, as you can see right here, the door, the net, it has more netting than fabric on the bottom, so it's a lot more airy. And it's got the 3 vents, one right here, one in the back, and one over here. And we have a little bit more ventilation, and if you watch the time-lapse video, my daughter made it a little bit bigger. But all in all, I love this tent. I don't have the footprint for it because I feel like it kind of does away with the feeling of being outdoors, right? The whole purpose of camping is to feel like you're outdoors. Here's one thing I would like to mention about this version as well, the older 2012 version. The pouches here, like, it has a nice big pouch. I put lots of stuff here. Up top, same thing. Has loops for a gear hammock up top, or to hang little carabiners with lights and stuff. But I put all sorts of things in there. That's one of my favorite features, is I can just, if I want to, I can put my clothes in there to keep them off the ground. Looking at the outside, you look at the design, it's just got a sleeping area over here on the right. So that's the only part that's technically the tent. It has the open floor with just webbing with holes in it for the tent poles, and loops for the stakes. The tent itself is just such a great tent. The design is great. It has 3 really large vents with these little poles to hold them open. As you can see, in the almost 10 years I've had it, I haven't tied it out completely. It does have another, little tie out point right here. And it looks identical on the other side. But honestly, even without tying it out and just staking it, I've had this in like 20-mile-an-hour winds and not even noticed that it was windy outside. You open up the door and the flap just starts flapping in the wind, and it's crazy. This is such a great design, and I'm excited to see how the 2022 version holds up compared to this one that I love so much. I mean, it's such a high bar set. But I have no doubt that Big Agnes did a great job and made some improvements on the 2022 version. So coming over here to the 2022 version, as I mentioned, this thing has just has doors everywhere. This is a door. This door I like because it's kind of angled. It's cute, it looks good. And this is other door here, and I got it staked out and open in there. This was an option for the 2012 model I have, but it wasn't for the ultralight version. To reduce weight and everything, they got rid of a door. I do like this idea of having a complete enclosed back area so you can enter your tent without going through the vestibule. And then also it's got your little area to take off your shoes, and so you're not tracking in all this grass and stuff. Then we look on the inside here too. You'll notice that the walls are a bit higher. The mesh starts higher up. I'd say about at least another foot higher. And that's a plus for me, kind of, because my my dog tore that hole in the other one, and it was just from looking out, and my kids, I think it's less likely to get cuts in it if it's higher up. These pockets, look, the other one, it went across the whole width, and this one's just this little tiny triangle. I don't know, like I mentioned, I put my clothes and stuff in there, and I don't even think this is big enough to hold my phone. So to me, that's a real letdown. It's definitely not on the positive side for this 2022 version. I mean, they got a bunch of hooks to hang probably gear hammocks and stuff, and they got some up here, and it's got a big pocket up here, I guess, but it's not, I don't feel like it's quite the same, because I like, when I go into my tent, I just dump out my pockets, I put my knife, my whatever in there, and it keeps it up away from me off the ground. So I don't know. We'll see how it holds up, and maybe I'll review it again later, 10 years down the line. As for the interior, the height of this is just amazing. The other one was just a little bit shorter, right? So I would always have to crouch, and here is me. I'm 6 feet tall with shoes on now, so I'm probably 6'2"-ish, standing completely upright. I got to get a little bit of a crouch if I don't want to touch my head on the top, but it's so spacious in here. It's so nice. And I'm really excited about this. I have 2 of these, and I can't wait to take my wife and kids and everybody out on some new adventures. So I guess overall, to end this video, I think I really do like this new 2022 version of the Big Agnes Wyoming Trail. It's just a little bit taller. It's a little heavier, a little bigger, but the bag's nicer. It has so many doors and access points, and I'm really excited to try it out and see. Maybe, 10 years down the line, I'll do a review on this one and do an almost 20-year review on this one. I don't know. This one just, I've had it for so long, and it's nothing's even compared to this one. So hopefully the new one is the same, and I have no doubt that they did a great job on it, and hopefully we'll have it tested out in the wild pretty soon. Thank you.